We work for a highly funded yet unofficial government agency. Our mission is to monitor extraterrestrial activity on Earth. From now on, you will have no identifying marks of any kind. You are no longer part of the system. We are the Men in Black.
Hello YouTube, this is Bub's Comics coming at you with a quick comic haul. Picked up a few first appearances and some solo first appearances and some number ones and some keys, so real happy about this. We'll start off with a bang here. We have Amazing Spider-Man 300. I picked up this copy off Instagram. I have to say it was a mixed reaction. So I paid very little for this book compared to kind of the average book price for this. So it was on my list of books that I didn't want to pay really much more than $150 for, so I stayed in that budget. My thing with this book is that it's not a 90s book, but to me it's pretty much close to a 90s book. I think it came out in '88 or so, but the idea is that there's a lot of these out there. So if you're looking for a high-grade copy of this book, be patient. There's tons of them out there. I think your average book is gonna, in a normal grade, if you're one of those high-grade hunters, it's tough. But if you're looking for a normal grade book, you're gonna be somewhere between the 250 and 350 range. I think this book pretty much has a nice little ceiling for a while at $300 for an average copy. And that's usually where it'll stay. And I think that's mostly because of all the 300s on there. This book just screams $300 price tag with everything it is. I wanted to get a book for about half that, mainly because the book doesn't mean that much to me. If it was in a really high grade, it would probably look better. But my conditions for this book were that I wanted a newsstand copy because I really don't like the white Spidey face that you see on other copies. I want a newsstand copy. I wanted the red to be red. Sometimes these are very faded and they're very orange. And if you can see on this copy, that is a very red 300. The other thing that I wanted was I wanted the centering to be pretty good. Some of these books, this top edge here especially, where it says a special 25th anniversary issue, that yellow bar there's nothing above it. Either it's cut too close to that bar, or there is some other defect of that nature where that is completely cut out or messed up, and I didn't want a book that had that. So those were my wants for this book. So my advice to you is, if when you're going out and you're looking for a book, and you know, if you're a high grade collector, it's easy. You want everything at 9.8, you want it CGC'd, and that's the end of the story. Okay, good for you. You know, I'm a low grade collector. So as a low grade collector, every time I put a book on my want list, I decide what defects I'm willing to accept for the price that I'm wanting to pay. And those were the one. And for this book, I wanted a relatively good cover, but the main thing I wanted was barcode, red, bright reds, and a nice centering. That's what I wanted for this book, and I didn't want any pieces missing out of the cover. Sometimes I'll see this book and there's a big chunk there. I didn't want any pieces. Other than that, I wanted it to be pretty good. I did clean this book. When I first got it, it was very dirty, very, very dirty. I think the seller vastly overestimated its condition, but I was able to determine its condition, and I ignored what the seller had as their condition and just went with my own. And when I got it, it was about what I thought it would be. So I took an eraser to it and cleaned as much as I could, especially the whites. When you're using an eraser, it works really well on whites. So barcode cleaned up real nice, the price area cleaned up real nice, and the Amazing Spider-Man logo cleaned up really nice, as well as his eyes were very dirty. They were almost gray, and I was able to get them pretty sparkly white. So the hardest thing to clean is dark colors, because usually they're rubs and they just turn white, so you see there's a lot there. I was able to clean that blue ring around. That cleaned up pretty nice. So some things cleaned up well, some things didn't, but I'm very happy with it. and this will probably be my keeper copy. I doubt I even upgrade it. I keep it at work because it actually looks low enough grade to look like it matches my Golden Age books. So that's plenty about that. Next we have Adventure into Fear, of course, first appearance of Venom, in case anybody just for some reason didn't know that. Next I have Adventure into Fear, starring the Man-Thing. So this is actually, if you're looking for this book, it's actually Fear is the title of the book. So Fear number 10. This is Man-Thing's first solo appearance. Made his first appearance in Savage Tales 1, I believe. Next we have Men in Black, number 1. This is the first appearance of the Men in Black. So this book, it usually ranges around $100. Here lately it's been coming down, which is surprising to me. So if you see this book in the wild, a lot of times the dealer or the seller or the shop owner will be charging like $100 for this book, but really you can get it a little bit more affordably in the $75 range, maybe even $50 range. I managed to pick up the whole set for $50, and that was a steal. I was shocked to have got it. So there's number 1. Of course, Men in Black is made famous by the Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith movie. Whether you're a fan of that movie or not, it was definitely a phenomena. And, really catapulted Will Smith's big run of big hits that he had there for a while, where he was putting out a blockbuster. He was a bankable summer blockbuster movie maker. So, the movies are very loosely based on the book. There's so many differences. They're almost completely different. There's a couple of volumes of this, all very short, limited series. So we have number 1 here. Here's number 2. Done by Airsoul. And here is number 3. So very different than the movies. Of course, there's a 4th movie coming out. What's funny to me about these is that I don't think that these books, you can't name me, or maybe you can, put it in the comments below, but I'm not aware of any other comic book that sparked a movie franchise, not just a single movie, but we're about to get our 4th movie in this franchise coming out. I don't know when it's coming out. They already released a trailer, so it must be pretty soon. We're about to get our 4th movie in this franchise, and it was sparked from a comic book. I can't think of another comic book first appearance where it was truly from the comic book that is as undervalued as this book. That's amazing to me. There's just no one else out there. I can't think of any that a comic book that sparked a movie franchise in its 4th movie. That's crazy, and still you can pick up the number 1 for under $100. That's amazing to me. So maybe that'll change. Maybe this book will jump in value, but I was very happy to get it, and of course to get the whole set for like $50. That was a no-brainer for me. And last but not least, we have Ghost Rider number 1. So if you think you're seeing double, that's because it's almost exactly the same cover as Marvel Spotlight number 5. They're very, very, very similar books. So this is my Ghost Rider number 1. I think it looks pretty good. I'm very happy with it. I got no qualms. It's got a tear here. It's a little bit of a spine roll. It's one of those books that really makes me think about picking up a press. So if you guys have any suggestions on that, I know that that's another part of the hobby and that's another whole ordeal. But as a low-grade collector, I think owning a press could really help me to improve some of the grades that I'm picking up and, bring them up a little bit. So I'm really considering it. Go ahead and getting one and then tinkering with it and, turning some books into pieces of wood before I figure it out. So, of course, this wouldn't be a book I'd start right off with, but I do have a lot of Bronze Age books that are very wavy, have a lot of spine roll. And if you're picking up brand new books, I don't see any reason for a press, but where I'm picking up a lot of bronze, a lot of those books are pretty rough. So, I love to see a seller mention that something could benefit from a press. Everything benefits from a press. I sent a 9.6 book in pressed, and got it pressed to make sure it was a 9/8. You know, everything benefits from a press. So anyway, this is Ghost Rider #1. Great book. Very happy to have it. You know, just a little key hunting. Just doing a little key hunting. So hope y'all enjoyed that, and we'll catch you next time on BUB'S Comics. Go ahead and read a comic. Thanks. Bye.